everybody, hope you're having a good day. Hope you enjoyed that awesome intro. I am here with the other type of minotaur from the city-states from Conquest. This is the Haspists, and when you buy one of these boxes, it is a dual kit, so you can choose to make either the Tyrians or the Haspists. I made one of each. I actually made 2 Haspists and 1 Tyrians, and when I play the game with this army, I will decide at the moment if I want to do that, or I'll have to buy a second box, which I'm not keen on doing. I'm not a big army builder. I love to buy the different sets and have each one and paint them for the channel and show you guys the different variants that you can have in this game. So this is what's cool about Conquest, and if you want to save some money, go check out their web shop and use EastMini10 as a promo code and save 10%. Alright, so we're doing a color triad from the Army Painter Warpaints range, and this is going to be a brown triad, and this is going to start off with rawhide brown, and this is going to be the base coat for all the skin. Now if you get it on some of the other parts of the miniature, it's not a big deal because we will be covering it over later, and it's going to come in handy with certain spots as well whenever we do some other things later on this miniature. This is a pretty big miniature, so it will take a little bit longer to do the coverage and get through all the parts of it. Hope you enjoy these videos. Hit that like button, folks, and as about 80% of you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. That's free. And if you want to support the channel, join the channel today and become a member either at base, mid-tone, or highlight levels and enjoy some awesome perks. Alright, so these minotaurs are brutes. They are pretty cool. If you haven't seen if you haven't played Bellum's Conquest, go take a look at their website. You'll be able to take a look at their army builder, all the rules. Everything is available online, which is awesome. The next color triad is the mid-tone of leather brown. I'm trying to get mostly the higher edges, like what the light would capture, and give it that second tone. And then we're going to put some bullwhack brown just on the top raised edges. Now here's something I've never really done before, which is the highlighting, and I'm trying to glaze it, so I put a lot of I dip my brush in the water, try to get as much paint off, and I'm getting just the raised edges of the bulls, or the minotaurs, muscles or hair like that's protruding or whatever, anything that's popping or a little bit higher raised to create a shadow effect. I don't know if it was good. Now I used a skin tone from Army Painter, or a skin color, and so like on the back here I was like, okay, this is very, very bright, but I've seen people do this and it turns out looking nice. Now by having it watered down, it blends into the paint that's underneath, so it will dry lighter, which is kind of cool. And when I put the wash, it's still there, but it's very subtle, and it makes it so it's not bad. Normally I would have dry brushed all that, and I would have just dry brushed the entire skin and then just covered it after. And I think, to me, I like that method a little bit more than what I did here, but I'm always trying new stuff. And we're using some Claymore Blade now, actually, to cover up a lot of areas that have armor, or the weapon, the shield, which is going to be a base for a speed paint later on. And I found that I looked at everybody else's minotaurs online and saw some other pictures, some other videos and stuff, and a lot of them went with the bluish gray color for the skin. Yeah, that's kind of cool, and it's very different. I like my minotaurs to look like natural animals, kind of thing, more natural like, and that's why I went with the browns. And what's cool again in Conquest is you have the freedom to build your army the way you want it. You can paint it the way you want it. This is just an example of how I painted this one. You saw that the Tyrian, if you haven't seen that video, take a look at it, was painted very differently. It was more dark. It was more earthy kind of colors. But I did have that blue in there, and you'll see I'm going to have a lot of blue on this one later on to match my blue scale or blue theme for the city-states. I found that they have a blue theme to them, so you saw that with the hoplite. I went with blue armor and blue plumage and all that blue, and I found it turned out looking amazing. I think on the table, when you see this army with all this blue armor and these blue pieces and all that come together, it's going to look just amazing on the tabletop. So that is my goal with these guys. Hardened leather as a speed paint right now. We're going to be getting his hooves there. We're going to be using this on the big hilt, or the handle of that giant axe. We're going to put this on belts that he has here and there, or straps that he's got holding up like his armor that's going under his underarms. And I think I noticed some parts later on when I was painting some other spots that he has these other straps, so I did them off camera just quickly, but you'll notice there's some straps under his arms there that are going up to those big armor pauldrons there on his shoulders and that. And again, you can choose, well, I followed the models, like how to build them, but you can choose a different axe. Maybe you can choose, like, they give you a couple variants as well, but only certain heads fit on certain models, so keep an eye out for that. Now using some electric blue for the I believe it's electric blue, I completely forgot now, for his skirt. Again, here's that blue being tied in, and it's a very light blue. It's going to match a lot of the lighter blues from the rest of the army. Yeah, like I said, you can have a lot of fun with these miniatures, and I hope I'm not boring you guys with always showing you the same similar paints or talking the same stuff about Conquest or whatever like that. And I hope you really do enjoy these videos. Comment below if you've played this game, Conquest, if you've played First Blood, which is the skirmish version, or if you've played Last Argument of Kings, which is the rank and file version. Alright, now I don't know what happened to this speed paint. It was very gloppy, glooby, gross. I don't know, it was not liquid much. Like, it wasn't very, I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if my cap wasn't tight on it or something, but it wasn't running like all the speed paints do, and it's weird. I couldn't understand what was going on with it, and you can see it made it like kind of streaky on the shield there in the front, and it wasn't like just getting into the recesses I want. So I used it on some of those pauldrons where I put that silver paint a while ago as well. Using a little bit of Abomination Gore now. We're just going to be doing the big belt around his waist. You don't see much of it. It's pretty much all hidden underneath the whatever that is, like that leather armor or whatever that is. And so just these little tassels that are dangling down at the back here. Gonna hit those with that Abomination Gore. Abomination Gore, by the way, is a beautiful red color, deep red. So if you need one of those colors, that's a good one to go with. Then we're gonna use Royal Cloak. Now this is almost turquoise. It's a very, very light blue with a hint of green to it. I found that this was going to be a perfect contrast. Not contrast, because contrasting would be the opposite end of the color scheme, right? But this would be like a good, what do you call it? Like a good balance, I guess. And a little lighter on that, like, leather armor. It's like a dyed armor instead. So it's got like some blue armor, which is really cool. I think, I don't know. I just, like I said, I'm doing what I feel looks awesome on these big minotaurs. You know, you go with what your gut says, and you know, some people will be like, oh, it must be so easy to paint and get everything. No, the miniature I'm working on right now, I'm second guessing it so much. I'm gonna send a picture to the person I painted it for, but sometimes you second guess yourself, and I'm like, do I restart it completely? Do I just touch it up and see what I can do to fix it? Anyways, yeah, so keep an eye out for that video coming soon, by the way, of that miniature. It is a commissioned miniature. I hope the person will like it, because it's the first time I actually paint something for commission, and he says he loves my work, so let's hope that is the case with the miniature I'm going to be painting. So like I said, keep an eye out for that video. It will be coming up soon. Alright, some sand golem now for the sheath of his, I guess that's a sword. You know, a broadsword for a human, but for him it could be like a dagger almost. Anyways, some monster brown now just to cover up those straps on that big axe of his, and I'm going very, very lightly. And I always notice how when speed paint is underneath it, even though I let it dry for a long time, it doesn't reactivate per se, like in this sense, is that it kind of absorbs the paint that's above it, or comes back through that paint kind of thing. So you don't even need to put a wash on it. I find it gets like a natural wash to it already, which is really cool. Now I'm using a strong skin wash, which is from the Army Painter skin toned paint range, and putting this on the entirety of the brown parts of the miniature. Well, not necessarily brown parts, but everything that's skin, his horns, his hooves. Well, no, I already did the hooves with the speed paint, but like above that with the fur and all that. And you can see how that paint is blending into that highlight I did with the skin like being a little lot brighter here and there, and it dulls it down a little bit, but just giving it a nice cool light reflection kind of thing of the skin, like a glistening muscle, I guess you could say, or like it's almost like seeing one of your favorite actors with their six-pack coming out of a pool or something. I don't know. Blue tone now. We're going to be putting this on pretty much what I did as blue leather. This is the first time you guys get to see my wet palette. I don't know if I'm using a wet palette properly, but I always put, like, even I put speed paints on a wet palette. You shouldn't really, but I'm even putting the tone on there, and it just waters it down a little bit, but it does a good job anyways and gets what I want done. My wet palette isn't super wet all the time. It's just there to keep my paints fresh, and I can use them again later on if I need to do touch-ups in that. Hoping you like the angle here. I've been changing all my angles. I've been also working with my camera to get better colors, to get better focus, and I finally figured out that I can actually save the focus and exposure with a simple click and hold on my phone. That's something I learned. I used a little bit of red tone there where I used that Abomination Gore just to make the shadows pop a bit more, and a little bit of I think it was Toxic Mist for his eyes. And now we're going to be doing a big long part of this miniature, which is all the edge trimmings in greedy gold. We're going to be putting this all over, all these trims around that leather armor. We're going to put some here and there. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here just so you're not watching me do this for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes on the video. So it took me a long time painting this normally, just, you know, trying to get all the edges, making sure I don't hit anything else because I've already put the shades down, all that. I'm just getting the front trim of the shield just to give it a little bit more of a pop on top of that blue. I think it does a great job on top of the blue, by the way. I do all those little rivets with it as well. I do this at the tip of that axe. And now we're doing some dark tone on the silver. We're going to put some here and there. We're going to put some on parts that I might have missed here with some shading, but mostly the silver. I do not do the back of the shield. I do that little armor piece that's on it, or the cod piece kind of thing. So yeah, just a little bit of touches here and there you have it, folks. The Haspists Minotaur is painted and ready for the table and conquer the other army. I want to thank you guys for watching. Spend less time painting and go board gaming.